2017 South Asian floods. A monsoon is a seasonal prevailing wind that occurs in the southern Asian region. The winds originate from the southwest, occurring between May and September, and bring mass amounts of rainfall. This event is known as the wet season. The rain brings vegetation to life and is used to help grow crops and propel the Asian economy. However, the monsoon rains were far worse than average across the dates of July to September 2017. The floods of Southeast Asia were caused by the excessive storms and precipitation delivered by the monsoon, devastating the lands in Nepal, India, and Bangladesh. Rainwater from the Himalayas traveled down through Nepal's low-lying land, through India's overflowing rivers, and through Bangladesh's floodplains. The floods also led to landslides and destroyed large amounts of farmland. Some anthropogenic factors affecting the magnitude of the flooding is Nepal's deforestation and poor infrastructure planning. Due to this, there were few routes available to absorb the rainwater, causing the rivers to flood with excess runoff water. Poverty was also a human-made factor that influenced the flood. Poverty reduced housing options and forced people to be more reliant on the land and grow food in riskier areas. The frequency and magnitude of the flooding stopped when the month of September ended, due to the climate changing to the dry monsoon season, which occurs from October to April. The dry season brings winds from the northeast which do not hold any rain. However, the vast destruction left behind from the floods were present throughout the lands.
$41 million were affected by the devastation, whether it was through the floods, torrential rains, or landslides. More than 1,200 people perished across the countries of India, Bangladesh, and Nepal. The floods destroyed or damaged around 18,000 schools, which affected around 1.8 million children that were no longer able to attend classes. Many thousands of these children fell out of the school system since education was not the main priority of the relief efforts. The torrential rain has led to numerous floods in a major arc across the foothills of the Himalayas in Bangladesh, Nepal, and India. This has caused landslides, damaging of roads, electric towers, and has also washed away tens of thousands of homes. The mass amount of destroyed farmland coming during the regular time of rice cultivation has sparked fears of a food crisis in the country. India's financial capital of Mumbai, which also contains India's second biggest airport, was brought completely to a halt with massive flooding that destroyed thousands of homes and made travel nearly impossible other than by walking. The cost of these floods were estimated to be around $10 billion in economic damages.
During the 2017 flood in Mumbai, the massive majority of India's warnings were put out telling residents to abandon their cars if the water level goes above the car's tires and to stand on top of the vehicles because it is safer. They also put out more warnings telling people to stay inside and not to go out into the streets. Sadly, it is not uncommon for Mumbai in the summer to get monsoons to flood the streets to about half a meter of water. However, during floods, like the one that happened in 2017, it was a stronger than average flood, and because the majority of the people were accustomed to this seasonal rain, people did not listen to the warnings that the government and police stations put out, which caused there to be even more deaths and fatalities. To try and help prevent more deaths and to help regulate the water, Nepal and India both have put some flood control devices at the border of Nepal and India for the annual monsoon season. These flood control devices are mainly dams and embankments that help with the regulation of the flow of the massive amount of water that flows down into India coming from Nepal. However, with that being said, over the most recent years, there has been tension between Nepal and India over these embankments and dams that have been built in the buffer zone between the two countries, because the majority of these embankments have been built on the Indian side of the border, and Nepal has no to little say as to how the Indian government regulates the flow of water from these dams and embankments. Because of this tension and the disagreements about the flow and regulation of the water, it has caused the two countries to continue to blame each other for the damages and effects of the monsoons like this one that happened in 2017. This conflict and arguing has led there to be little to no communication between the two communities, and it has amplified the problem of the floods. And until the two communities stop fighting, there will be little to no improvement or change in the flood control devices in Nepal and India.